If you're in a commodity market, things are going to continue to get squeezed. It's a tough world, and price is the only lever. Good morning, everybody. Ruby says, welcome to 2024. It's a new year, new mindset, new shift in opportunities and where we want to be. And I've seen a number of commodity and commodity adjacent businesses sort of come to what they've always known realization is that the race to the bottom is real. It's happening way faster than they like, and there isn't a whole lot they can do about it. That said, there are some things they can do about it. They're just not used to doing things like that. So, what does that mean? For anyone that is in a commodity business in the current macroeconomic frame, your customers mostly only care about the price. They will squeeze you for another point, another nickel, another whatever to get that price down. Which means if you are more expensive than the quote-unquote competition, things are going to get sticky pretty fast. And so many of them are trying to figure out how to get out from under that model. It's a model that's worked forever. It's a model that will continue to work for the ones who can come up with the lowest price. And so that quality-price ratio I continue to talk about is the confounding part of things. If everybody sees price, they don't really recognize quality. It's really tough to stand out in that frame. So a lot of these commodity and commodity adjacent companies are trying to decide, how do they make that work? How do they decide where they're going to fit into a quality price ratio that doesn't necessarily care about the quality piece as much? So it's tough. It's a tough spot for anybody. But the idea, it's 2024. Let's look now at what opportunities might lie in the future. And so that might be diversification. It could be diversification of product, making new things. How do we get outside the scope of what we're doing from a commodities basis and try to bring different things to the market? We have to have patience for that. That's really hard, but it is something that could happen for somebody that's in a commodity or commodity adjacent business. The other thing is to niche down. Let's find areas of the market where we can stand apart, where it's not as important to have the lowest price or be the cheapest game in town. And how does that impact what we're doing? But that is a very different business. That's a very different business model. If you're used to RFPs and RFQs, now you got to go out and find a new audience. Well, it's that's gonna take a good chunk of your 2024. So for today, Ruby says, look at the markets you're in. Look at where you're trying to go. It's a new year, new opportunities. Everybody's got 365 days to figure this stuff out. If you're in a commodity market and not feeling comfortable with that, it's time to look at how you niche down. So suggested listening and reading is my good buddy Seth Godin. Look at your minimum viable audience. Who can we go and find that will support what we're doing, that is not necessarily built around commodity? For most companies, if you're playing in the commodity space, it's tough to get out of that. So if you make a widget and everybody else makes widgets and your widget is more expensive than every other widget, how do you stand apart? Well, your quality could do that, but I better be willing to pay for that. 9 times out of 10, that's a tough sell. So it's time to think and rethink. If that's the spot you find yourself in and that's not a comfortable spot, figure out what other options are on the table. Sometimes spinning off new businesses can be a piece of that. Sometimes R&D can be a great piece of that. But these will all be things to think about and consider in the new year. All right, welcome to it. Here we go. Walking and talking with Ruby.